Good morning. Good morning. It is noon Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific, 8 Alaska time, 8 a.m. So let me turn this music up for just 1 second. This is how we started off, folks. Here it comes. Well, the music playing in the background there. Here we go. Calm down the music a little bit. Kind of leave it in the background just a little. I kind of like that energizing music, okay? And also, just to be clear, I do have the rights to use that music. I purchased it. All right, so what are we looking for today, folks? We got a lot going on again in the news cycle. Yesterday, many of you who tuned in, you did see some things happening in the Senate. They finally confirmed, at least they finally confirmed 3 of our military leaders out of the 400 or so that Senator Tupperware has got going on down here in Alabama. I'm down in Alabama. He's my senator. Still baffled by that man. Jeez. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at. We had 3 yesterday who were confirmed. That would be Lisa Franchetti, Admiral Lisa Franchetti as the CNO, the Chief of Naval Operations. Let me see, General David Alvin, who would be the Chief of Staff for the United States Air Force, and then General Christopher Mahoney will be the Assistant Commandant, but also of the Marine Corps, and also acting as the acting Commandant of the Marine Corps, while the Commandant, who is General Eric Smith, is in recovery right now from a medical emergency that happened this past week. Okay, so those are the big news that came out of the Senate yesterday. There was only one holdout who didn't vote for Franchetti and Alvin, but there was still 95-1 and 92 or 1-1 or something like that, and then 86-0 for General Mahoney. So anyway, so we've got some leaders in place now. People are no longer struggling with that part of the top part of the leadership, but people underneath there still need to be moved in. All these different positions that are in there, the senior leaders in the military, they need to be moved in. They don't need to be wearing 2 different hats or 3 different hats, because we know that that's a stressful thing to start out with, even when you have 1 hat that you're wearing and you're responsible for such a big area within the military. And you know that, come on now, Senator Tuberville, either lift this ban or go back home to Florida. Yeah, he lives in Florida. He's got a mansion in Florida. He has an address in Alabama. Really, that's it. But yet he represents Alabama, folks. You know, made a decent coach, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe because I'm not into football. I don't watch that unless it's Army Navy playing. In which case, I do watch if I can. If I'm free to be able to do so, I do watch the Army Navy football game. And obviously, I'm going to go Navy every chance I get. That's the only football game I'll watch religiously. That's the one thing that has become a religious event for those of us who graduated from Annapolis. That's just the way it is. So anyway, so some news things. Let me pull up some things in the background back here. See which one I want to pull up first. Okay. Let me go back here and share the screen. I'm going to share a screen directly behind this one. And this is some events that are coming up that you need to be aware of. And let me go here and here. No, that one. All right. This first event, folks, is up in Coatesville, VA, at the VA Medical Center in Coatesville. It's on Monday, November the 20th of 2023. As you can read there, it's from 12:30 to 1:30. That's Eastern time. If you're in that area, you know, drop in there because they're having a Transgender Day of Remembrance service in the Faith Chapel, All Faith Chapel, at the Coatesville VA Medical Center. Go in there. Go. If you're in the region, please do stop in and kind of, you know, show that you support these kind of activities and go there in remembrance of our trans veterans or trans people who have lost their lives over the past year. And it's an inordinate number of people, and the largest group, the largest population of those who have been murdered or killed or whatever, however they died in that sense. It was Transgender Day of Remembrance. It covers a lot of areas right there, but we need to remember that. The largest population in there would be trans people of color. And that is a sad, sad commentary on that, actually. So go there. If you're in the coast. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Completely caught me off guard. So if you're in the Coatesville, PA area of Pennsylvania, up there around the Coatesville VA Medical Center, and you can get there, please do, Monday, November the 20th, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. in the All-Faith Chapel of the Coatesville VA Medical Center. And I received this notice this morning from our good friend up there, Sharday Westcott, who has been with us from the very beginning in this organization and before. So Sharday has been a tremendously wonderful person. I'm so glad to have her and call her a friend, okay? So that's the first one I wanted to share. And let me see if I can switch to the next one. Am I still sharing? I don't know if I am. Okay, let me try to share again. Share screen. We're going to go back to this one and share it. Also on Monday, November 20th, this is 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This is going to take place at the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Center for Minority Veterans, having a Transgender Day of Remembrance event that's occurring there at the VA main office, VA central office, at 810 Vermont Avenue in Northwest Washington, D.C. So, I mean, it's right near the White House, okay? It's right near that area right there. So, anyway, that's taking place there. That one had an invitation to come in person, but I'll also be sharing a link that will be provided for all of us to watch if you wish to, from around the country, from wherever you may be. There'll be a link that we can actually watch that on from wherever you might be. I'm going to be there in person. I hope to meet up with some of our friends and fellow veterans and other organizations even in the area, because we've got a lot to do, folks. We need to start pulling our ass out of the sand and out of the mud and start preparing for what's coming, because, this world is not a safe place anymore for a lot of people, including our Jewish friends. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. We all know that. We've seen it around. I mean, it's been something that is part of human society for thousand years. What the hell? I mean, what kind of loose marbles do you have to be an anti-Semite or to hate people who aren't like you? I know what you're saying. You just, maybe God told you to do that. Well, no, your fucking God's an idiot. Hope you don't mind me saying that. Jesus Christ, you don't hate people just because they're different. And then you don't go around and go, well, I love you in Christ. Bullshit. I'm going to call it what it is. No. You have no business getting into my life, okay, or anybody else's life for that matter. Just let them live. Let us all experience the blessings of liberty that we have been guaranteed in the Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence. Come on. Our founding documents here in the United States. Let people live their lives, folks. And let's go celebrate, or actually it's a somber day, actually. It's a somber day of remembrance of transgender people have lost their lives over the past year. And the largest number, as I mentioned a little bit before, the largest percentage happens to be transgender people of color, which is absolutely horrendous. So, with that, let me stop sharing this screen. Let's go see what else we can get into, folks. Are you ready? Let me drop that screen out. I'll be sharing some of this stuff too in an email that's coming out later today. It's going to be a lot of very interesting, I think. Hopefully we'll have some people come in and just see what's going on. We have somebody watching right now from over on Twitch. Looks like, yeah, Twitch. Glad you're there. Thank you. You can put a comment over there and say hi if you'd like. You're more than welcome to be here. Now let me see. Okay, so that faded out. Fade the music down. Let me go to my banners up here at the top. I'm going to take this one off, and there. Okay. All right. So this is today's show, November 3rd, 2023. And again, welcome to the show, folks. So let's just go over and start reading down through some of the news items before we jump into anything else. do a kind of recap of the news so you know where we are in the world, what's going on. And obviously, I'm going to pontificate about some of those things that are actually happening in the world that, I feel strongly about. So let me present from that screen. Hold on. All right, so this was the first one. This was actually published in the Wall Street Journal by the editorial board of the journal, and I'm reviewing these news items from my Microsoft Start tab that I've got, Microsoft account set up here. And this is a warning to law schools on anti-Semitism. A bunch of lawyers and law organizations all came out. And this basically right here, this is what this letter, let me see if I think it's pretty large already. This letter calls on the deans to protect the free exchange of ideas and warns that as employers who recruit from each of your law schools, we look to you to ensure your students who hope to join our firms after graduation are prepared to be an active part of the workplace communities that have zero tolerance policies for any form of discrimination or harassment, much less the kind that has taken place on some law school campuses. All right, that's a pretty big stern warning right there to anti-Semites. If you're going pursuing a law degree, yeah, one of the things they will look at, and out there in the real world, when you get away from academia, is they will look at your tolerance for other views. Yeah, sure will. If you're a hateful person, Lord, I wouldn't want to hire you anyway. Anyway, that's just the way it is. Anti-Jewish hate, but look here. Now, this is what actually gets me. It's not just, you could put hate of any kind in here, but the anti-Jewish hate that has bursted into the open in the last month is deeply troubling and must be resisted. That's from the editorial board there at the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, but this kind of stuff, it's not just anti-Jewish hate, it's hate of other people who are different than you, period. Period. I mean, it's not just that, but it is that. That's a big thing. Jewish people have faced the brunt of hatred more so than any other population or minority population in the world. Far more, percentage-wise, and number-wise, and percentage-wise, far more. Why that is just baffling to me. But there's also hate out there that goes after anyone who is different. I mean, there's hatred of Asians, there's hatred of Indians, there's hatred of, people with a Hindu faith or whatever. There's people who hate the Muslims and, Islamic people. There's hatred for any group that is different, who's not your group. And it has burst out into the open over the past couple of years, not just this last month, but the anti-Semitism has skyrocketed in the past month. But hatred for another group just because they don't look like, act like, sound like, and believe like you is part of who we are as human beings, apparently. And I don't know how to stomp the thing down. Do you? Does anybody have a clue as to stop that kind of crap? How about if we just be decent human beings and try to return to a degree of civility in society? Can we be civil to each other? Can we be not demanding or undemanding that they say and do what we think they should say and do, but instead let them say whatever they want over there, as long as they're not being violent about it, as long as they're not inciting violence? Let them do that. I mean, I'm talking to my own population here too, by the way. Far too often we kind of get bent out of shape, and I'm talking about trans people specifically. Really any population, but trans people specifically, and gender diverse people. Let me see if I'm still sharing. I'll stop this for a second. Go back over there where I'm pontificating again. Here we go. So let me just say this very loudly and very clearly. From me, from this perspective, me as a person, these opinions here are mine and mine alone. They don't reflect anything else, anybody else's views, any other agency, group, organization, department, whatever. These opinions are mine. And I'm entitled to them just as you are entitled to yours. So let me put it like this. If you are going around demanding that people just who interact with you on an infrequent basis, who don't know you at all, who may have had all kinds of crap going on in their lives, but you interact with them and then you demand that they use your pronouns that you want, or you demand and forceful about all this stuff, or you're going to get up in arms about it. The problem is on you. But if the other person though turns it into, an angry response back, obviously there's some things going on there. but but we don't have any kind of authority to tell that other person what to say, think, or believe. Just like they don't have that authority to tell us what to think, believe, or do, or be. It goes both ways. You can't have it one way. You can't demand it one way without actually thinking rationally about this, without being a hypocrite about it. You've got to be consistent in your thinking. You've got to be consistent about it. Study your own thoughts, study your views, your way of looking at the world, and then make sure that you're not being a hypocrite about it. There's all kinds of ways that it goes out, okay? So I'm just going to leave it at that. Phew. We see that too often, by the way. We see people just out here going, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, they don't have to. I'm sorry, they don't have to. And the biggest thing that I can do or that you could do is just go like, oh, well, that's on you. That's fine. Okay, fine. Be whoever you want to be. Be an asshole if you want. That's fine. That's on you. But we shouldn't be an asshole in return. Unless, of course, I'm talking about the Heritage Foundation, in which case, if they're going to go down low and try to take us out, remove every word that identifies us from the whole federal government, then guess what? I'm going to get down in the dirt with them and kind of go, this is wrong and stupid and ignorant and just crazy and hypocritical. And if you're telling Americans that some Americans, simply because of who they are, aren't American enough for the protections of the Constitution and the First Amendment and all those things, well, then you are definitely an asshole. You're wrong. I'm using this colorful language, this French, because it carries a lot of impact when I use it. And I don't use it all that often, but sometimes you've got to, because people don't listen to you unless you're willing to just go, we got to change. Stop this now. Sometimes you have to use the New York salute. I'll leave you to figure that one out. You could add, a couple other turn of phrases around with it if you wanted to. But, I use it very strategically. All right, so let's go back over to the news again. Jeez, come on, let's go back to the news. Let's see how much more I can get into in this. That was just one story. All right, so let me drop out of that one. Let me go here, pull up another news story, drop that one down. Let's go back to here. Okay, John Fetterman predicts that Joe Manchin is not going to be around much longer in the Senate. That's probably true. New warning on war's fallout, violent extremists targeting Jewish or Muslim communities. Yes, absolutely. Don't go out there and do this kind of crap, folks. We don't need violent extremists in our country. You can protest all you want. You have a right to your free speech within limits. But the moment you go inciting violence, then you have taken a leap over into the extreme side. Just as we cannot yell fire in a crowded theater when there is in fact no fire, and just as we cannot yell bomb on a plane, train, or a ship when there is in fact no bomb, those things are wrong. You will be put in jail over something like that. Absolutely, and you should be. So if you are encouraging violence in your protest, if you're encouraging the participants in your protest to turn violent, to throw rocks, let's say, or to encourage someone else to be violent, then your protest is no longer a protest and it's become a riot. And that's different. There is a distinction there. You've gone too far. Protest, sure. Even if I disagree with you, loudly and deeply, you still have a right to stand up there and shout your words to the highest that you want, okay? You have that right. But I'll be darned if you're going to stand up there and then go, that person right over there, you got to get rid of. They don't look like us. That person right over there, they're Jewish, go after them. No, you don't get a right to say that. You don't have that right. You don't have that right to go after a person because they're Muslim or Jewish or Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, deny, whatever, nativist, any of those things. You don't have a right to go after them and be violent toward them at all. Period. Full stop. Okay? That's from USA Today. Let me go to the next headline. I'm not going to worry about answering the question. AP election brief, what to expect from Ohio voters on abortion and marijuana. Is that today? When is the vote for that? On Tuesday? It's coming Tuesday? When? Second time in 3 months? No. Okay, no. Well, don't know yet. Soon, very soon, there's an election in Ohio that's going to talk about, they're going to get the public's opinion on abortion and marijuana. Okay? Just don't go there. Go right on through. To the next one. Billionaire Bill Ackman says it's pathetic that colleges rely on corporations and law firms to police anti-Semitism on campus. Well, yeah, but you have to be really careful about that from Fortune magazine people. All right, Paolo Confino, got to be real careful about that. As long as you don't stroll over there into a person's right to free speech, fine. As long as you stay out of that area. Now, what you're doing is policing anti-Semitism that is violent anti-Semitism, is the way it should have been phrased. This should say police firms to police violent anti-Semitism on campus, and then I could I could agree with that. If there's violent anti-Semitism on campus, absolutely the campus should do something about it, and typically does. But you can't stop them from being anti-Semitic. As much as horrible as that is, as just ugly as that is, you still can't stop them from doing it. You shouldn't. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Just scroll through the headlines here. That's an ad. Seinfeld, okay, no, not worried about that. The issue of gun rights returns to the Supreme Court next week from Scripps News. Okay, let's go down here. And by the way, I do believe that people have a right to own their weapons and own their guns or whatever. I mean, that's there. You can do it. You just don't. I know darn well that the framers, when they wrote that amendment, the Second Amendment, that they had no idea there would be howitzers and nuclear missiles available. Yeah, you don't get one of those. No, you don't. So there are limits to that one too, folks, just so you know. Okay, so let me go on to the next one. 10 freedoms other countries have that the U.S. does not, and there's no doubt there are some. Organized religion is archaic and outdated. It says women will not be ordained. Yeah, well, believe what you want. I can't tell you what to believe. Let me go on to the next one. Democrat attack ad against Rashida Tlaib sparks fury. Dangerous. Okay. If your political ad encourages violence, you're just as wrong. There can be no distinction between a violent political ad and a violent protest. America's on the brink of a second civil war. Ask Amy. Non-binary adult faces misgendering at work. Okay, well, fine. And this is back to the point I was saying earlier. If that's occurring around you, and you can't tell somebody else how to act. Now, if your place of work has a policy about that, a written, explicit policy about that, then that's a different story altogether. But there is no policy about it, and you've got to make sure that the policy actually incorporates, there are religious freedoms that people, they want to be assholes. People want to be an asshole. Really, you don't even have to have a policy. If a person is an asshole to you, you don't have to sit there and just, fire back at them. You just have to, they're entitled to that. You really don't even need the policy, actually. Come to think about it, you don't need the policies, because you don't have a right to tell another person how to respond to you. And they don't have a right to tell you how to be you either. But we know that both sides of that argument think they have a right to tell the other how to think and what to do. And they're both wrong. Okay, STEM packages China. Oh, more than 300 Ivy League faculty members revolt. Okay, what was that about? 14 hours ago, Claire O'Hare, State of the Union. And let me see, Columbia University Bernard College signed an open letter expressing their dismay at the recent surge in anti-Semitic incidents on campus. Yes, well, they have a right to do that too. And they should be condemning them. No doubt about it. They absolutely should condemn these kind of behaviors. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Last one in line. Humans breeding with now extinct species may be cause of depression, study says. Now look, let me make sure that we're understanding this. There are now extinct species. They're not talking about doing that today. It did happen in the past. We know that. We know that humans interbred with Neanderthals and Denisovians and whoever else was around there that looked somewhat similar to them. That happens. As a matter of fact, modern humans, especially of European origin, you've got some Neanderthal in you. Maybe a little bit of Denisovian as well, especially the further east you go in Europe. But anyway, so yeah, that happened. That's not a big thing. But whether it's the cause of depression, it might be. I don't know. But it's good. I love the science. I love studying the science of things. Genetics is fascinating to me. Back to the top. Okay, so let's drop out of all the sharing stuff over here and go back to the main page. Any comments? No. Okay. So right now we are live on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and on our website. And I hope that you have tuned in. The weekend is here. I know that here in Alabama, right here in the Tuscaloosa Metroplex kind of area, the metro area. Big game tomorrow here in town. And I mean, it's a big one. Alabama versus LSU. And I can tell you, they're going to roll out the protection around that whole campus, as they usually do. And it's going to be crowded in town just for that. The population in Tuscaloosa, I think, is around 100,000 roughly, maybe a little more, something like that. But during the school year, about half of it's students. During the summer, the population in this city goes in half, well, essentially, roughly, approximately. But it's a big game tomorrow, folks, LSU. Let me see who's Navy playing this weekend. Navy football. Let's go up there. Go check that one out. Okay. Let me find out who we're playing next. I don't really know. November 4th. Oh, who's that? The Owls? Who's the Owls? People? Who are the Owls? Anybody? I don't know who the Owls are. Who the heck are they? Oh, Temple. Temple. Okay. Oh, geez. Right. I don't. Okay. Tomorrow, Navy midshipmen will be playing Temple Owls. Okay. Lincoln Financial Field, Navy. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. It looks like implied final score. They project on this thing here the odds that Navy's going to win, but it will be a tough claw up to win. It looks to me like. Okay. Anyway, I thought that's fascinating. I had to look up who the Owls are. I had no freaking idea. All right, so we've been at it for about 30 minutes. I'm not going to take up. I'm going to try to get this down to about 30 minutes every day. I may do different things each time, but I'm going to cut it off right here and tell you to have a great day. Ask you to have a great day. I hope you enjoy it. Be kind to people. Try to find a way to be civil in your conversations with others. And just know you have no right to tell another person how to live their lives or how to be who they are. And that goes both ways, folks. We don't have that right to impose ourselves on others, and they don't have the right to impose their views on us. But, that's just the way it is. And so that's what I ask as we close out this program for today. Be civil, be respectful, show some respect for people. And but remember that Project 2025, well, that's a different thing altogether. They're out to wipe all the words that identify all minorities in this country are out of the whole of the federal enterprise. and we can talk more about that at a different time. The intro to this thing had Goliath up there with David. Well, Heritage Foundation has put $22 million into Project 2025. And here we are, not even David. We're not the size of David trying to throw a rock at Goliath. We're more like the size of an impotent ant-man under the foot of David trying to pick up a grain of sand just to move it in the hopes that maybe it'll shake up somebody over there under Goliath's feet. I don't know. But that's essentially where we are at this point. But there is hope. We can beat it. We can. We have to come together. We have to come together. And with that, I'm going to play in here the music. Let me go back to branding here really quickly. And let's get back to the music. Here we go. Play. Here we go. And we're going to close out with this. Have a good one, everyone. Have a great day.